Hello, hello.
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 Can you hear me okay?
Yes. Yes, we
Amazing.
can.
Oh, there's Zach.
Hello, hello. Can we hear me all right?
Yes.
Yeah. How are you all doing? We all right?
We're good.
We are good. We've had a busy morning.
Chris is eating.
Fabulous.
Chris is
I am
eating.
eating. I haven't eaten all day, and it's noon, and I'm
Yeah, it's
shoving a
noon by
bagel in my
him and
face.
11 by me.
I've just eaten dinner, so
Right?
snap.
And I haven't eaten today, so
Well,
that's
what the
always
heck? Why not?
Oh man, I'm one of those people that just kind of forgets. I actually have to be like, I'm like a camel. I'll get to like the second day and be like, I need to eat something, and then then I feel way better. But yeah, that's just kind of what
I love
happens.
that you use camel as a reference.
A
Oh yeah,
camel.
yeah.
I suppose though, camels probably don't eat a lot. They
But
retain their water in their hump.
this is
So
not where I thought this conversation was going to
No, you didn't know we're going to talk camels?
go.
one hump or two. I don't know.
I mean, I
I'm a
suppose they're
two-hump
kind of
guy.
ginger and I'm ginger, but and I'm pretty big, but I don't know. Anyway, that's enough of camels.
Well, we don't like camels. Okay. No. Could you please introduce yourselves and the role you play in the band?
Yeah, I'm Max. I play guitar and I also do a bit of singing.
My name's Zach, and I am the drummer. I hit things. I'm the annoying one at the back.
Hey, you're the heart of the band, right?
Nah, more
No?
like the big toe.
The big toe.
I mean, you can't bounce without them, right? So,
That is
Oh,
very true.
that's a very cogent argument. Touche, sir. Touche.
I've seen a band without a drummer but have fake drums and it's not the same.
No, it's
It's
not.
really not.
Real drums are where it's at. So
Well,
don't you be discouraged. You're a very important person in the band.
Annoying, but important. That's
Oh.
what's
just
really
like
sad is I
me.
can't disagree.
So what is the origin story of Kite Thief?
fine. We've all kind of got different versions of it, but I think the generalized one is we met at university. We all went to study music where I live now in Bristol. Um, and we'd all kind of crossed paths like a little bit during like the course and stuff like that. And there's like a part of one of the lectures where we had to like form a band and stuff. And Ellen was kind of like the puppet master. She sort of went round and like picked out all of us individually. So like she'd played with Josh, but she's also played with me before. I'd played with Zach a little bit, and I knew who Zach was. Zach knew Henry. And so she kind of grabbed us all, and we had to like learn a song and stuff like that. Um, Play it live, and then they have these like end of term gigs, where you would like all compete to get on it, and it was like a small lineup, so there was loads of people competing, and we managed to get through. And then we ended up like winning because they had some sort of competition attached to it, and we were like, oh, maybe we're good. Like maybe we should give this a go. And then everyone after the gig was like, you guys need to like carry on with this. Like even though we played a cover, it wasn't even our song. So we kind of like we sat down afterwards and we were like, that was amazing. Everything felt amazing. We should just give something a go at least. So we tried writing some songs, and I think we wrote like in the start, I think we wrote like four songs, and three of those were the first three songs that we
Yeah,
released.
I think there's only one in that group that we didn't record, wasn't it? Like,
Mm,
and yeah,
yeah, and it just like it was so natural. And then yeah, from there really we kind of had 2 years that we finished at university together of just like intensely being a band.
Mhm.
So like every single day we like lived, breathed, ate it, and like we would rehearse from like 10 till like 1 in the morning because we were students and we didn't have like a sleeping schedule or anything to really be up for. Um, so we kind of we were quite fortunate really. We sort of skipped over the whole like having to practice on the weekends and like only be able to do gigs here and there. We just like we went for it. And a lot of our lecturers, because they're also musicians, really like wanted us to go and gig. So if you had to miss a lecture for a gig, they were like, yeah, like go do it. So the first couple of years, first 3 years, I'd say, of the band were just intense learning, like how we all work together, gelling, um, and kind of, yeah, it was just like a crash course really in being a band. And then that's when it started to take off after we started gigging and getting the word around. We didn't have social media for like years, did we? We had like 2 years of gigging with no social media
No,
because
no,
we wanted to like build a bit of hype around the band before we put anything out there. And all
Yeah.
my friends were saying like, "Oh man, you gotta be on social media. You gotta do this. Like, why aren't you doing it?" And I was like, "Trust me, please. Like, I'm just, I know, we know what we're doing." And so we built up this kind of hype, and like everyone was talking about us, but no one really knew like who we were or where we were from or like. And then when we finally hit the scene, like everyone was like, "Oh, those guys. Yeah, I remember seeing those." Or like, I remember they gigged in my town, or so
yeah, we
yeah, the
toured quite
first,
early as well, didn't we?
yeah,
We toured for
straight
like
away.
I remember going to a because we had a performance lecture, where all five of us were in it, and we got there and we got there. Well, I got there early because I generally get everywhere like 3 days early, and I was there and was just asleep on the sofa, and like the lecturer came up to me and was like, "Are you all right?" And I was just like, "Just got off tour," and he was like, "Oh, cool, all right," and then went back to do the lecture. But it was that kind of thing where it was like, right, that's kind of cool, and we, it was only short tours, but like, I hadn't toured previously before that. That was my first time doing it. But I know Max and Ellen had toured a bit before. Whereas that was like my first time, and I was like, oh wow, you need to need to eat food and be healthy on it,
Yeah, I
otherwise you'll
think
fall asleep.
on the first tour, Zach exclusively only ate, what was it, Nutella and hot dogs?
Oh yeah,
Not cooked
just
hot dogs, just out of
oh
the
yeah,
jar.
Not
just
I think,
together.
uh,
Together.
oh
yeah,
yeah, I did it together as well.
I
I'm
think he just wanted to
disgusting,
see like
man.
how far he could push it.
but then
And
like
we didn't
on
kick him
our
out.
on our last show on that tour, I had my head over the toilet for obvious reasons, and then did the show like white as a sheet, just like
Yeah.
I regret everything. But so that was fun. That was a learning experience.
Now he
But
goes
yeah,
to the gym, so he did learn something.
and now it's flipped round entirely to the other way, and now I go to the gym. So who'd have thought?
No
I
more
feel.
Nutella and hot dogs.
Don't you feel like that would be a state fair food over here in the States? Like they would take the middle out of the hot dog and like inject Nutella into
Ugh,
it
Yeah.
that doesn't
Oh
even sound
wow,
good to
and then
me.
Like
deep fry it.
like a corn dog.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that
but a
just sounds
Nutella
Shut
filled corn dog.
a Nutella churro corn dog.
that just sounds aggressive, man. Like that's just oh no, even I couldn't fathom that. But yeah, no, that's I think that's in a nutshell. That's pretty much our starting story.
Nice.
And I know it's been answered in other interviews, but for our listeners, do you mind sharing where the name Kite Thief came from?
Um,
Do you want to take that, Max?
yeah, I think we just put it down to Josh had a phase, didn't we, really?
Josh had a
Um,
phase.
yeah, we can't really say anything more. It just appeared out of nowhere one day, honestly. We
We'll,
don't even know.
He
we'll
didn't
just
used
leave
to
it at that.
steal kites or anything, did he?
We wish it was that interesting, honestly.
Who knows?
I'll tell you what though, we have someone did bring a kite to one of our gigs and we signed it, so that's cool.
That was great. Oh wow, I remember
That's as
that. Yeah,
close
that
as we've
was.
got to stealing a kite as the name. But yeah,
He
we
actually came
that
to the front of the stage, didn't he, with like a kite, and then we got off
he's just
stage and
waving
was
it in
like,
our faces to
yeah,
me.
yeah. It's like, well, this is the coolest thing I've ever signed. This is brilliant. Yeah, but yeah, that's the sort of story. That's where the name came from.
Yeah, no, don't worry. There was no massive experience that someone had or huge story.
So, in listening to the Shush EP, I picked up on a lot of different musical styles. If you could creatively describe your musical style in a genre blending or just something completely made up, how would you describe it?
Um, oh, that's interesting. I kind of described it what in once and basically saying that we're kind of like a knife with a sharp edge that wants to give you a hug at the same time. It's like it's really angry, but in like a cathartic sort of way. I think the closest we've probably got, like in terms of what everyone else really understands, is like pop metal. where we're trying to blend a bit of everything. We're trying to like for this like for the Ambivalent EP, we we specifically tried to like pick songs which complemented each other, but also brought in different elements to the band that haven't been explored before. So like we've got electric drums, we've got loads of synth layers and stuff like that, which is way more akin to pop music and you know the stuff that you hear on the radio. Whereas with at the same time, we then introduced stuff like um double drop C breakdowns, which we've never done before, and like using a bass into a guitar rig, which is like super angry sounding. So I think we're yeah, I don't know. I think we're just angry and angular and abrasive with a soft and embracing kind of touch to us as well. I don't know, Zach, do you want
No, add any more onto it. I've been asked the question before, and I literally respond with, "I don't even know," and I'm in the band. Like I don't
to?
know.
Yeah, it
But like that's
changes daily, doesn't it?
I think that's the cool thing, isn't it? Where it's like because we've got all five of us have got sort of fairly varied musical
Influences.
interests that it's just like if we want to, it's nice to not sort of be like right we're a pigeonholed thing. It's just like right, I don't know, like if you want to take something from hip hop or you want to take something from R&B or whatever, just take it. And you know, one of the what was it? Gold Tick from the EP was originally influenced by a Jill Scott song. You know,
Yeah.
Elle and I started singing. We went away on a lovely songwriting retreat down the southwest of England, and Ellen and I were just sort of singing away to a Jill Scott song, and then Max, I remember you going, "What's that? That's cool," and then basically hit record, and then we just started like, and it started off completely different, and then ended completely different. But that's the cool thing is that it can just sort of start from anywhere and go from anywhere, and that's what I really like about it. Is there's nothing sort of off. What's the word? I've forgotten the term now. There's nothing's off limits musically.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I think we tried to introduce that really early. I think it's Sweepstake was the first song where we tried to introduce something a bit different. Um, and I think we just like to make sure that our audience and our listeners know that we like to change things up. Because there's nothing worse than doing like three releases that are all kind of similar and they're like, oh, everyone's getting used to it, and then you just throw a massive curveball and everyone's just like, ah, we want to be like, no, like get used to change. Like it's good for bands to be able to change like that. So
Yeah.
we wanna just introduce that really early so that we can one day be a jazz band.
Yeah,
With jazz hands.
Yeah.
I definitely like the like genre bending and like combination of genres and other influences. Ever since starting the podcast, there's one person at work who's also really into music, completely different type of music. But he asked me, you know, oh, do we have any interviews this weekend? And I mentioned he was like, what kind of music is it? And I didn't know how to describe it myself. And what came to mind was like, you know, you have the lighter side and then you have like the heavier side of your songs. And I was like, I can't describe it as my head went to like easy core. I'm like, no, it's not that, but it's also not hardcore. I'm like, I'll say medium core, dude. It's medium core. Like
Medium rare core. Yeah.
Medium rare.
Medium
medium
rare.
rare.
If you were a
But that's-
steak, what would you be like color wise? Medium rare.
Medium rare.
Yeah, that's us. Yeah,
Absolutely.
I kind of I get where you're coming from because like Josh and I have a proper like metalcore influence. Like we grew up on bands like Asking Alexandria,
Mhm.
um, and like Killswitch Engage, and like so we had this kind of weird thing of like of Mice and Men, Killswitch, Bring Me, and then we had like the like older influences of like Iron Maiden and Metallica, and then we've kind of discovered bands like Spirit Box and Loathe, and God, there's so many bands now.
Sleep Token.
Yeah, Sleep Token, yeah. And then you've got Zach, who we didn't even know until like a few years ago was massively into Meshuggah. So we've kind of got this weird thing of like me and Josh really wanting to satisfy our teenage metalcore boy like fantasy of breakdowns with like syncopated head bangs. And then we've also got the beauty of Zach's brain with like metric modulation. So there's
That's a
kind
nice,
of
that's a polite way of putting it. A nice
yeah.
way of
Well,
putting.
because we could quite easily just do the same breakdowns as everyone else has done, and like to a certain extent, some of our breakdowns do kind of represent or like sort of hark back to those days. But I think with the other guys in the band, we always managed to put like a really new spin on it for us at least anyway, and something that we sort of feel like we haven't heard or maybe like something that we want to hear, but then we kind of pull everyone else's influences into it as well. But yeah, I'm glad you get the metalcore kind of element of it.
Yeah. I mean, you technically kind of answered our next question, which was
Ah,
musical influences that,
okay.
have impacted your creative process the most. Because you mentioned
ABBA.
a bunch of bands, but if there is any other musical influences you'd like to mention.
I think recently, like we all went to download this year. God, it was this year, wasn't it? Seems like a lifetime ago.
It does,
And
doesn't it?
we were all went to see Bring Me the Horizon headline because for us it was like quite a monumental moment of like a small band that started off like us, like doing the same thing and now headlining one of the biggest like metal festivals in the world. And we've just been like blown away by them recently with their new kind of direction, and I think that's put a massive influence in like and kind of fire into our bellies for the sort of stuff we want to do. And like Ellen and I really love Spirit Box. Like we just they're like absolutely one of our favorite bands. Zach and I really get on with Loathe. Like we love Loathe together. Um, and there's so many new bands and also old bands that influence us as well. So like the Linkin Parks, the Sugars. Um, one of Josh's favorite bands is Parkway Drive as well. And Metallica. Um,
It's quite nice because
Ellen's
we
like
find.
a
Oh, go on.
sorry. Ellen's like a real pop punk kid, so she grew up on all of the like Story So Far and Neck Deep and Blink and all of that sort of stuff. Um, Henry is Henry's the only person in the band we don't really know anything about
It
musically.
was I was literally going to say that like it's quite nice that like within the band you'll find bands like that we sort of link with together. So like Loathe and Max and I really like Loathe and we really love them. Not to say other people don't, but it's like we have that little connection where it's like you sort of interpersonally within the band. And one thing that I love that I adore about our bass player is the fact that like he and I have like it's very seldom we actually whenever I'm in the van like just with him if we're driving or whatever it's very seldom we listen to heavy music. It's usually R&B, it's R&B or hip hop or like or whatever, which I
Or
love.
Chili Peppers.
And so or chili pepper, yeah, whatever, like and it's and the same goes for myself where it's like don't get me wrong, I adore Meshuggah and heavy music and stuff, but like it's not all the time that I listen to heavy music. A lot of the time it's whether it be big band stuff or um again hip hop stuff and just all really crazy out there. I'm currently into noise music at the moment, which is making me lose sleep, but in a nice way, which is quite nice. But like ambient stuff is just all over the place, and that's what I really like. I just did a gig yesterday, a trio gig, but with a choir, which I've never done before, and that was kind of cool. And that was good fun. So yeah, lots of variety there, and I think we all kind of appreciate variety is the spice of life and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, you got Josh that loves dubstep as well.
Oh yeah, he loves that. He loves dubstep.
Now you'll kill me for saying that.
I mean, I'd say it's a good thing that every single person in your band has different influences because that does help musically, like you guys perform and create. It can be a
Yeah, well,
factor.
like Zach said, we've got the commonalities there. We do have the bands that we all kind of agree on, and we all are like, yeah, they're sick. And then we've just got our own vastly different influences. Like Ellen loves Ash Nico at the moment. And is it Jip? I can't remember. They're like they play like drums and sing, and they do it all themselves. And yeah, we're mega like mega different in like all of our personal tastes, which is nice.
Nice. So you guys did release the Shush EP recently. Out of the 4 songs on that EP, which is your favorite and why?
So there's actually one more song to come out.
Oh,
It's actually called Ambivalent, the whole thing. So
And here I thought it was all released.
no, we got the last one coming out on the 15th of December. But
Track EP.
Zach, you go first. Actually, you go
So,
first.
forgive me. It was favorite track. Did you say favorite track
Yes.
to? Can I ask? Is this to like listen to or play to? Because that activates different parts of my brain.
I mean, you
both.
can answer both if you'd
Or
like.
both. So to play. Oh no, they're probably the same. I would say my favorite for both playing and for listening to is Judge, Judy, and Executioner for me. Yeah, it's just got something about it that's just it's yeah funky in a way, which I don't know how that works, but I just it's like tangibly really lovely to play from a drumming perspective, but also just listening to it. I love the ebb and flows of it. It doesn't kind of give you any relief at any point, you know, maybe in the middle section. I love the ending as well. I've still got a video somewhere of us in the rehearsal room, and I had the daft idea of being like, hey, can we do, like, as Max mentioned, some crazy modulation at the end? And I put the camera near Max to film what he was doing. And the face just turned from like smile to like gun, 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 gun. And it was just like, because it was, and that was really nice. So that was a very sort of natural song for me anyway, at least. So yeah, Judge Judy for me.
I gotta agree with the playing side of things. Judge Judy is by far the most fun to play. Me and Josh always get our like spin on stage, and we have this like cool thing where we like switch sides of stage and like choreography and stuff. So I think that's got the most moments where I feel like I can like properly headbang and like go a bit mental. Um, but I think the Tide for like listening to is the one that kind of holds the most like it's the one I hold dearest to me basically because although I think Judge Judy was the first song we finished writing, The Tide was the first song I wrote for this EP back in the beginning of lockdown in 2020. Um and it's just yeah, there's something about that riff and that whole song that just kind of every time I listen to it, I'm just like, oh yeah, like that's what I look for in a song for me personally. So
I
I
remember
think
hearing
it's
the
really
original demo.
important. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it was a long time ago. It's changed a lot as well since then, but I think I think it's so important to like the music that you write and want to listen to it. I see people like I see friends in bands posting their Spotify Wrapped and like you've got some of them that are posting theirs with all of their own band songs in there and stuff and they're like, yeah, I don't care. And then you got other people like their songs aren't even in it at all. And I'm like, why would you put music out there if you just don't want to listen to it, if you're not proud of it? Because if you don't want to listen to it, who the hell does?
Right. I mean,
Uh,
you got to like what you're writing and want to
yeah,
listen to it. Otherwise, you don't even want to
absolutely.
perform it, right?
Absolutely. That's where I'm coming from. And I don't think there should be any shame in wanting to put your own band on or listen to your own band in your own time, or even if you're just like at a party or whatever, or like with friends. I know it is kind of lame, but also like promote that
Meh.
shit.
Yeah.
Stuff. Promote that stuff.
You can swear, it's fine.
Jess, does it make you feel good that their favorites are also our favorites?
A little bit. Yeah. From what we've heard,
Nice.
since now I know there's a fifth song coming.
Do you want a sneak preview of it? We can send you it if you like.
Oh, I would totally love a sneak
Great.
preview.
Yeah, it's only 10 days away in it or something like that.
I know it's not that far,
What's
but it'll
10
be
days
out
between
soon.
friends?
Yeah. No, Chris asked me what my favorite songs were, and I was like, the Judge Judy one, and then the Gold Sick were my favorites.
Nice.
I mean, I
I'd
like them
love
all, but those were
I'd
just
love
like,
to know why.
I don't know. There was just something different about the Judge Judy one.
Yeah,
It was like
Yeah, I'd say it's
kind of
probably the most
almost like
different.
all over the place in a way. It just
I get
it
that.
hit differently than the other songs for sure.
Nice.
What were yours, Chris?
The Tide, primarily lyrically and I'll call it the moshability.
The moshability.
Yeah.
The violence factor.
Do you even mosh anymore, Chris?
Oh gosh, the last time I did was in an Every Time I Die show when I was really drunk.
You wouldn't have survived that, man. That's intense. That sounds
Rip.
terrifying.
Rip every time I die.
I can honestly say I have never moshed in my life. Not
I have not.
once.
I've tried to get out of a mosh pit that started behind me, and I'm like, get me out of here.
That is my view.
I went to a holding absence show recently, and my girlfriend went in the mosh pit, came back, and was like, "Someone just elbowed me in the nose," and I've been to the ER and got all cleaned up because apparently
Oh,
she was just bleeding from the nose. I was just stood there
God.
holding the bags, like that's why I don't mosh anymore.
right. I mean, I go to watch the band more. I feel like I
Yeah.
want to just watch. I want to watch the show and
Whenever
enjoy
we go
it and not
together,
have to
we
worry
stand
about
by the
getting
sound desk.
elbowed or kicked or
Yeah.
anything, you know?
See,
Yeah.
but when you do mosh, you get caught up in the music and you don't think about that.
It's true. I can see that because I love watching people mosh, but I don't like to mosh.
I won't mosh on my favorite songs because I won't hear it and I won't remember it.
Right.
Oh man,
That's my
I
yeah.
was gonna say, so do you have you seen like any shows in the States at all? Would you say
No.
that? No, I was gonna say because
Oh,
I was like, what? I wonder
do you
if
mean
they're
like have we
mosh
been to
harder.
this?
No,
I was gonna
I
say, have
was
you?
wondering if you think that the people in the UK mosh harder than the people in the States.
Oh, I don't. Yeah, I wish I could comment on that.
I
I
know.
think it all depends what crowd it is in the UK.
Yeah.
Because if you're part of the underground scene and you get like a shit hot band that are like making waves in the underground scene, those places are lethal. Like I've been there, I've seen them, and it basically back in college, my mate's band had a song called Bottom Jaw Removal. Because someone put a GoPro at the show, and it was one of these like really sweaty, like small gigs with like one of those bands that were really coming up. And my mate spin kicked a dude in the face and like at the bottom of his jaw and just knocked him out. So they wrote a song about that. And
Wow.
that's the sort of brutality that like I was seeing. And so I don't know. I'm not sure what that scene's like in America. I've seen all of I follow the Hate Six guy on YouTube. He does all the drum cam stuff. Um and like yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff on that. But just Google just YouTube like Outbreak Festival. That's in the UK, and like the
That
most
looks
recent ones
terrifying.
were, and
Yeah.
that
Yeah,
was
and like where you are in the US, that scene is completely different too. Like
yeah
the kids in Florida, so I've lived in 3 different states. The kids in Florida are like ruthless, like they'll purposely try and knock each other out in the pit.
yeah
Whereas like I'm born and raised in Syracuse, New York, and I'm back here now again. But we're like, I'll call it like courteous moshing.
yeah
Like you hit somebody, you're like, oh my gosh, sorry. You knock them over, you pick them up, kind of thing. Like
yeah
it's a completely different vibe than it was in Florida.
yeah. I think we've
That's
got good etiquette here. Like if anyone does fall over, like you're straight up. Like there's no unless you go to one of these gigs where like the bands all of a sudden got like we went to a Sleep Token show and there was like no crowd etiquette whatsoever because this is when they were like releasing their latest album and like everyone there was just such a dick and like they all just like no one would let anyone through and then like all the mosh pits were just people that don't know how to mosh and haven't like had the experience of like knowing what to do or had someone teach them like no you're not meant to do this or like don't stamp on that dude while he's on the floor like pick him up you know.
I think a really important. I say this as if I'm some sort of seasoned mosh pitter, but I
Well, you
stand
get to
back.
see a
I
lot
do.
at 6'6", don't you? So
Well, that's
you
why I
can come
don't
in.
mosh because then they just aim for the big dude, and I'm just like, oh, I just want to go at the back now, please. Anyway, but like no, but like that's a really important thing that like live music, regardless of like genre or whatever, but heavy music or whatever should be a safe space for you, and it's just like it should be like a release for you, a healthy release. And if you see people swinging elbows and stuff, trying to to put intent on like to hurt someone's like fuck that, like it should be like a healthy release of like aggressive like energy. But I say that as I always stand at the front of the house because I don't want to get hurt.
Meanwhile, I'm on stage in the tie telling everyone to kill each other.
Yeah,
Kill each other
you know.
respectfully, please.
Hey, you fall down, pick someone up. I guess it could be a
Totally.
generational thing. You never know.
I think it is, you know. I think we're the last, we're the dying generation, the 90s babies.
So which song on the EP was the hardest to write and get right during the mixing process?
Oh,
Oh,
don't get
they're
the
two
mixing
different
one's interesting.
ones.
Yeah,
They're
yeah, I was
two
gonna say
different
they're
ones.
different.
Gold Sick by Gold Sick and Ambivalent. So Gold Sick started out as a swung, almost like kind of, I don't know, like a bluesy sounding thing. And we spent hours and hours doing that. And I think I was the original one that said, can we straighten it? And everyone was like, no, no, no.
My guitar
And
player
then
will disagree with that, the other one, but I don't know.
no,
I
no,
don't know.
I did. I
I
did.
don't, I don't know who started that argument. But
And
yeah,
then
yeah,
we
yeah.
spent ages trying to make it work and it didn't work. And then the other guitarist, Josh, who looks just like me, so that's funny. So you can just change my name to Josh on this bit if you want. He said, "No, we need to straighten this up because it just sounds too like jolly and happy-go-lucky, and it was a really weird vibe for us. It really didn't suit us. So we spent another, I want to say like another week or so working on that. We'd spend ages writing our songs. But we went away for like 3 days. We wrote that one for 2 days. At the end of it, we hated it. Then we spent another week or so like changing it all around, adding bits, taking bits away. So I think that one was probably the most difficult to write, not necessarily because of how long it took, but just actually getting the feeling right. Because we knew we had something good there, and we didn't really want to let it go. But it just took a while for us to all kind of come around and see that like having it this way and not that way was better.
I think it's
Um,
worth saying for that song, the thing that did it, um, that sort of confirmed that we needed to change it was that there was a field change in the middle, wasn't there? There was
yeah,
always a field change in the middle, and it was the latter half that we loved, and we were like, well, why don't we just make the whole thing that? So that's the field change thing, and that's how that
it went
worked.
from like a swung vibe to then like a straight vibe,
Completely
and it was
straight,
just
yeah.
like
I honestly can't remember from my perspective anyway. I can't remember the songwriting process for that.
it
It's
was
all a blur.
it was me and Ellen were drinking wine in the hot tub, and then we were like we just had fish and chips for dinner, and it was I don't know, and we'd had a little bit of something else as well, and we were like, nah, let's you know what, let's go and write a song. Let's just see what falls out of us. And we sat there at like 12 o'clock at night, 1 o'clock, just writing this song. And then like it actually, like I said, we came out with some cool stuff and like we didn't really want to let it go, but it just yeah, it was just one of those things where we were just inspired. We were like, yeah, let's do this.
Unexpected in oh, I can't speak apparently. Unexpected inspiration.
Yeah, the working title was Hot Tub Time Machine. So we were just sat there and we were like, yeah, let's just see what happens. Fuck it.
Yeah, I
Uh,
think that was yeah. Sorry, I know you had two parts to the question, didn't you?
Oh,
I
the
can't remember
most
what
the
they were.
hardest one to mix, wasn't it? Was the
mhm,
second one.
Yeah.
I
But
think
the tide, maybe, because that
yeah,
was that.
the tide we had these like really particular in the breakdown, where it goes like we had those big like hits that we wanted to try and we wanted to have like a bit of a throwback to like the old metalcore stuff where it had like the reverse snare and then like a huge reverb on the snare. And I think it was honestly just like a miscommunication with our producer because we were typing everything. We weren't like there with him mixing it. We were just like, no, I want it to sound like this and sound like that, and it just kept getting it wrong and wrong. And like, it was probably the way I was telling him, to be honest. Um, and
And that was
then
the first song that we did, wasn't it? That was the first song
yeah,
that we like produced. So
I think
it
that
kind of
was the
got.
most difficult because we tried to set the standard of the EP from that song. So it was like we get this one nailed and then we move on with like that vibe. So yeah, that took like two weeks of mixing, 3 weeks of mixing maybe, just to get that one song. But our producer Joe's like a absolute like an absolute saint, and he's like he works so diligently and so hard, and he really wanted this to be like super special for us because we'd done some like singles and stuff with him before. I think we've done like three three songs with him. So this was the first thing, the first body of work where it was like all collectively going to be one thing instead of the odd single here and there. So yeah, he really wanted to work like extra hard on that for us, which was lovely. And we think it turned out pretty good.
Chris would agree because that's one of his favorites.
Yeah.
Yay!
So I'm going to back up a little bit. We were talking about musical influences. I'm going to twist that a little bit. And the best way I can preface this twist is Johnny Depp says he got his inspiration for Jack Sparrow from Keith Richards' stage presence. Do you
Yeah.
have an influence for your stage presence?
Absolutely. We toured with a band who you should check out actually called Mother Vulture. They are like lifelong friends of ours. We've grown up playing in the same scene in Bristol as a band. And we had recently um got like a new in-ear rig and we were running to Click and we had all the synth and stuff and all our backing tracks and we're like, yeah, we're cool, we're pro. I mean, we went on tour with Mother Vulture, who just plug in and play. They're like old school, like rock band, and they go fucking crazy on stage. I mean, like to the point where Brody wears knee pads when he's playing guitar because he's like diving off the stage, like doing like the splits over his head, like while he's like lying on the floor, like jumping in and into walls and like hanging off of balconies upside down and stuff. And on the first day, I think we only did 4 days with them. And on the first day, we were like, oh my God, like we look so boring compared to them. Yeah, we had like our own lighting rig and stuff like that, but we were like, no, we need like our music is so energetic, just like theirs, so we really need to match that. And we spent that tour kind of learning from them and like really matching that energy. Um, and I think we all had those bands that we'd seen live that kind of were like electric to watch. Like there's some really big bands that just stand there and play the songs, and it's just the most boring thing. But I can't remember who did we go and I think we went and saw a band together, didn't we? I think I can't really remember. I mean, Paramore have always been quite like energetic on stage and running about. I grew up on Guns N' Roses, so like I in the 90s, like they were having these huge stages where they were just running all over the place, and I think we're very much of the we originate from those bands that really perform and really put on like a show and make it really theatrical. So yeah, I think seeing Mother Vulture was definitely the the catalyst to that. And then we've now been like researching lots of other bands and watching all their live sets at festivals and stuff and just studying people.
Yeah.
'Cause I think like there's a lot of in a being in a band, you want everything to be your idea, but when you get to like the bigger leagues and stuff, like people aren't always using original ideas. There's some stuff that is just trialed and tested that just works. Um, the only thing we've shied away from is going down into the crowd because we had a few tours early on, which where it just got really, really cringy because we'd go down and then the two bands following us would go down as well, and everyone just looked like they were copying each other. So that's the one thing, unless we can like properly crowd surf and stuff like that, we kind of steer away from.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Well,
want to
you don't
do
want
that
to
at
get
one
hurt.
point.
Yeah, yeah.
I want to crowd surf at some point.
Good
But
luck.
good luck to the audience. Jeez. No, yeah, I mean, I think maybe because I'm behind the drums, it's slightly different. I think if what you are doing is authentic in your expression, someone's going to connect to it, regardless of what you're doing. So it's like, if it's a certain move or whatever that makes you who you are and a certain charisma that you have on stage, if that's who you are and authentic to who you are, then people will connect with that authenticity. So like I've been chatting to a few people in interviews and stuff about like oh, do you think about like what you're doing like on like with your stage persona? I was like, no, that's just me being an idiot. Like I don't necessarily, unless there's certain choreographed moments, you put on it's theater, isn't it? At the end of the day, you put on a show. You know, I because I grew up doing theatre stuff when I was younger, like on stage, I was always told make everything bigger on stage. So to you, it looks really massive, but make it even bigger. And it's like, and people at the back of the room, people at the back of the room, make them the the focus or whatever. But yeah, I mean, I don't sort of think about what I do, to be honest. But it seems to it seems to be working, I think.
Yeah, you were talking about you don't want to be boring on stage, and I'm like, I've seen some boring acts. I definitely have. I saw the B-52s once, and they weren't as active as I thought they would be, considering they have such upbeat songs. And I
Yeah,
was just
yeah.
like, they
That's a
just stood
shame.
there. They just stood there and did nothing.
Have you ever seen like footage of the Hives?
No.
That band are crazy. Like they have like they're kind of like indie songs, but they're running around like they're like bloody Ramstein. They're just like doing crazy shit. Like, I saw Royal Blood, and it was literally just like watching the CD.
Yeah.
Honestly, I was just like, I know they can't really do much because they're just a two piece, but it really was quite like two-dimensional.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't want to like call out any other bands, but I feel like Royal Blood are kind of,
Yeah.
they're not really part of the scene, are they?
I'm like, and talking about stage presence, what about like Guar?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I know.
I want to wear outfits like that. Come on.
It's like
They got some
watching the
interesting outfits. I've seen them a couple times, and I'm just like, I only go really to see them perform because it's just fun to watch them on stage. Like, it's
yeah,
just a performance like no other, for sure.
yeah. I think that's what we always look at. We're like we want to try and we want to try and bring some of that big stage stuff to the small stage as much as we can. That's why we have our own lighting rig, and we really like the theatrics of it and making it like a really memorable kind of show to be at.
Yeah, definitely. Got to
Hmm.
keep people wanting more.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely.
Unless it's a
So,
drum solo.
yeah,
Unless it's a drum solo. Never a drum solo. Although we do technically do one in the set, but we'll
Do we?
ignore that.
Oh yeah.
drummers got to get
8 bars.
recognized too. Come on. So, being from the States, you guys have a lot of festivals over in the UK and everything that I would love to go to. You guys recently, like over the summer, played 2000 Trees, and they always have a great lineup.
Yeah.
You're playing again next year too, I saw. So how was your experience this year?
Yeah, we're very, very fortunate to have been asked back next year running. Because it's quite an unheard thing for that for trees to really do that. Not many people get asked to do it 2 years in a row like that. So yeah, we're very fortunate. We we approached this year's with like we were just we were just happy to be there, right? We were like, we're on the Thursday, which was the first day the main arena was open, and we were on one of the smaller stages opening it at like 10 a.m. So we were like, amazing. Like, we're in the main arena, that's perfect. Whoever turns up, we'll take it. That's fine. We've played 2000 Trees. So we were setting up, and like some people started to come in, and we were sound checking, and we were like, okay, yes, this is gonna be good. Be like maybe 50 people there. Come off so that like the stage crew and everything can just make sure everything's fine. Getting ready to go on stage. Josh walks up to like start our intro track, comes down, and his face is just like pure shock. He was just like, have you seen that? And I was like, no, what do you mean? So I like got some waters and like ran up on stage to pretend to put water down for everyone. And I was like, oh my God. It was packed. I think by the end of our set we had like something like 300 people in there or something like that, which is crazy for the first band on the first like official day of the festival. And we actually like we know who the organizer is, James Scarlett. And our singer clocked him start at the outside of the tent, and by the end of our set was like right in the middle of it. So I think I'm hoping that we made a good impression on him with him like wanting to actually come closer and see what was going on. But yeah, ever since that, it's just been crazy. Like we had people like all around the festival, the entire weekend being like, "Oh my God, are you Kite Thief?" And we were like, "What?" They're
Yeah.
like, you want a picture with us? No.
Little old
Like,
me.
yeah, it was really weird, really surreal, but at the same time, it was like it's so lovely. Um, and it's just one of the most amazing festivals. Like I said, we've been to Download, and that's a whole other
Hmm.
animal. But Trees is just full of people that are there for the music.
Right.
It's like music first, having a good time second. Like everyone is really respectful of the artists. Everyone shows up to the gigs, like to the bands that are playing, no matter what time of day. It's not like because obviously at Download you've got so far to go. So if there's bands on that you don't want to see, like a lot of people don't want to make that 45-minute walk to get to the venue to get to the festival to then like pay like I don't know £8 for a bottle of water, you know?
Yeah.
So it's like it's a small festival, but it's huge in the amount of like respect that the music gets and the types of people that go to those festivals. They're just like the best kind of people. So yeah,
Yes.
we absolutely loved it, and we can't wait to play next year as well.
Yeah. Speaking of the
Decent.
music too, like what bands were you excited to see this last year at the festival?
Um,
Or who did you see?
yeah, well, one for me was Pale Dusk. They're
They
a
are insane.
Japanese band, and
Oh,
it's very rare that they come over here. Um, so they were absolutely insane. There was Casey, uh, Dream State, Vex. I think it was Vexed. Holding Absence. Um, who else did we see, Zach?
Um,
Oh, Skindred.
uh, Skindred were there.
Skindred,
Oh,
Bullet for My Valentine.
who's you've got a t-shirt with them on it, three-piece baritones, main stage,
3P. Oh, Love is Noise.
Lover's Noise.
Yeah,
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 they
they're
were
my they're
there.
my, they're my
Uh,
dudes.
saw Eagles of Death Metal. That was kind of cool. I went there with a friend of mine. It was really weird, like a really surreal moment walking backstage and seeing the guys from Eagles of Death Metal and having a quick chat with them. It was like, hey, I kind of grew up on your music. Goodbye, and then left. So that was
Yeah,
kind of cool.
Kublai
But yeah,
Khan as well. They're one of my favorite bands at the moment. The Texas hardcore. Just like they're so funny, but also so like incredible at the same time. But
yeah, I've
yeah,
heard of
it was
them.
just great
stacked.
festival. Yeah, it was just a you kind of said it, Max, but it's just like the vibe is just lovely the entire time. It's just great, and it was a really sort of cool experience because we came just from a gig the day before. We did a warm up show, didn't we?
That was
And
it. Yep.
yeah, and we did a warm up show, and this is really gross, but I did the show, drove to the campsite, stayed there in my stage clothes, and then got out of my tent, went and did the show in the same stage clothes. Did that, got off stage, and I was like, "That's all right, that's cool now," and it was really hot as well. But that was a very surreal experience waking up and then doing a show where it's almost like jet lag because I'm sort of used to doing a show and it being dark outside. It's like 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, whereas like finishing at what 11 or something in the
Yeah.
morning, I was like, I'm not sure what to do now. Do I sleep? Do I eat? I don't know what to do. But yeah,
Yeah,
that
we
was
we all kind of like drained all of our adrenaline and just felt so like oh for the rest of the day. But I think it took a few hours, and we went and got our tents all set up and that, and
mm,
I've just been looking through the lineup as well. I forgot to mention um Employed to Serve and wait, who
soft
else
play
did we
were
see?
great.
Soft Play. Yeah, they were really good. I think I said Holding Absence. Oh, Cancer Bats, and then we saw um uh Bat Sabbath. And that was awesome. That was really, they had Daniel P. Carter, who's a Radio 1 DJ over here. He was playing bass for them. And they always do Bat Sabbath at Trees. So that was really nice to see.
Nice. Yeah, I saw the lineup for next year too, and I was like, oh man, what I wouldn't give to see like Kids in Glass Houses and Boston Manor.
Yeah, it's really weird because we like I don't know, like to me, like kids in glass houses aren't that's not the first thing you sort of think of, but then I imagine like over in America and stuff, they're one of those bands that you you think like, oh, they're not really coming over here or anything. They're not really doing much. So it's
Hmm.
like you kind of they're more in your mind than they are for us. But it's still going to be like it's one of they're kind of one of those like almost a classic band for us now. They're
Right.
of the old scene. So yeah, they're gonna be fun to watch for us.
Yeah.
Boston Manor especially.
I remember
They're
Kids in
like
Glass Houses. Like they kind of fell off the face of the earth for a little while, and then they kind of came
yeah,
back, and I was like, "What? They're back?"
yeah, that was my reaction when I saw it. I was like, wait, what? And then I looked them up a bit more, and I was like, oh, fair play, fair
They're
play.
back at it again.
Yeah, I'm just looking at the lineup now. They've got some. We played the same stage as Dead Pony. They're a really good band. You should definitely check that out if you haven't already.
We're
But
we're
yeah,
keeping notes on everything you're mentioning because
We
we're
are.
like,
good.
oh, I like to check out everything.
There you go,
Yeah,
Jess.
yeah,
That'll be the first JAMXP trip.
yeah. Oh, you
2000
definitely
trees.
should. Everyone we've done an interview with has been like, I would love to go 2000 trees because yeah, you get some really
Yeah,
good mix there.
I think Sappinen podcast always
Yeah,
goes to there. So
yeah, yeah. I've spoke to Sean a few times. He's a
I like
funny guy.
listening to their podcast. It's fun.
Yeah.
Another great band that's playing this year is a band called Peach, relatively sort of new band, but Bristol band. And yeah, they sound insane.
Mm.
They're awesome. So I'm looking forward to catching their set. It's gonna be awesome.
Is there any specific band you would like to tour with?
Oh, there's loads.
Right? It's like a
Um,
huge list.
any of the influences we spoke to you about, like Spirit Box, Bring Me the Horizon, Architects, North Lane, While She Sleeps, Sleep Token. There's a
Taylor
really
Swift.
cool American band called Avoid. I don't know if you've heard of them.
I have
If
not.
not, you need to get them on your radar. They've been doing bits. Me and Ellen absolutely love them. I think they're probably as close to, well, not our sound, but like I would associate like my sort of writing style and stuff like that to be very influenced by them with the kind of chaotic nature of what we do. Um, yeah, there's a huge number of bands we'd love to tour with. We'd love to tour with Loathe, Holding Absence, Thornhill, Void of Vision, Stray from the Path. The list goes on. Any of
It's
those really.
endless.
I think we've been asked if who would be like someone we'd like to collaborate with, and that would absolutely be either Bring Me the Horizon or Spirit Box. I think they've got something that we really admire and we really kind of look up to in terms of longevity and kind of reimagining and evolving as a band.
Yeah.
And Ollie Sykes is just anything he touches turns to gold. So
Yeah,
Zach.
Taylor Swift. I don't know. No, well, like again, in the spirit of being, I yeah, any of the yeah, any of those bands, obviously that'd be awesome. I'm trying to think off the top of my head. It's such a my brain is suddenly like, oh, trying to think of bands. I mean, I'd love to, always like to sort of tour with bands that aren't always necessarily like in the same style as well. Like on the flip side, so like I love seeing bands that like um that have supporting acts or that aren't what necessarily what you'd expect. I always like that. So like if that was like say like pop groups or whatever, just things like that, I think would be really cool. But I mean, yeah, any of those bands are awesome.
Chris.
Oh no. You have the next one. What do you
Oh
mean?
God, this sounds like a terrifying question.
Oh, I thought you were asking him about something else, but whatever.
No. That's at the end. So we're talking on the side. I thought of another question to ask you guys, but I'm going to save it to the end.
Yeah, no, go ahead. We've got loads of
Well,
time.
my question's not that hard. Mine is, do you ever think you'll come to the States, and would you even want to come to the States? Like, do you want to come to the
Absolutely.
States?
Yes and yes.
Yeah, of course we do. Every every band that we've grown up on, we've always like me and Josh especially love watching all their like tour documentaries on YouTube because it's so nostalgic and every time a band goes to the States, it just looks so different. Like it's very similar but also very different to like touring the UK. So like I don't know, just the thought of getting in a bandwagon and like just hitting the road and I don't know, it just looks so cool, man. Like
And see,
all the venues and
I've heard different things from like bands from the States that go to the UK. They're like, Oh, I love going to like the UK. We get like
Yeah,
a tour bus, and in the
yeah,
States
yeah,
we travel in a van.
yeah. I
And I'm
think
like, it's
it's
completely
very
different.
different. You can get anywhere in a day in the UK, which is quite nice. Whereas of the US, it's like just from watching those documentaries,
Yeah,
I know how far you have to travel sometimes, and having rest days in between so that you can travel. It will
right.
be a slog, but I think it's something every UK band has always wanted to do is just see what it's like. And like I think to be able to be, in whatever sense of the word, successful enough to get to be able to go there. Like for us, we just got a show offer through for the Isle of Man, which is an island off of the UK, but only by a very small amount. And
We
we're
still have to
like,
get on a
oh my
boat.
God,
We still
we're
have to get on
getting
a
on a
boat.
boat. And like we did a show up in Scotland in the middle of pretty much nowhere. It was like a festival. It was amazing. And we had to do an entire tour to be able to pay to get there for the fuel, which was interesting. But it was so much fun. And we even then we're just so excited to go to so many different places. Like we are nowhere near at that point where we're like, we got to go to the US and do a US tour. It's like, no, everything to us is still like so exciting. And I
Yeah.
think in regard to the industry, like we're still such a young band, even though we've been around 5 years and we feel like that's a lifetime already. It's like every new opportunity we get, we're just like, yeah, let's go. Like grab it with both hands, run with it. So any opportunity to go to the US, we would absolutely make whatever needs to happen to be able to get there. Because
Yeah.
we've all been to the US. Well, I think most of us have anyway, in like our own separate sort of times. And we've got a really good friend who actually just moved to Denver. Um, so and he's always like, dude, the lineups out here are insane. Like the touring parties you get through are just like you get some really good stuff over there. So
Yeah, I mean they've been going crazy with the When We Were Young festival stuff too.
yeah, I know. We all thought that was a scam. We were all like,
Everyone
nah,
did.
Mhm.
can't can't possibly be real. And it
Yeah, because that
was.
that first year, a lot of the bands they just threw on the bill and didn't even reach out to them. And I know there were a lot of bands like, I guess we're playing a show.
Yeah.
That's a
Clever. It's
very
kind of that was a big gamble, but fair
that's
play to
either
them.
really, really courageous or really stupid. But like it worked out though. Absolutely. No,
Yeah.
love to go. I'd love to go to New Orleans. That would be a place I'd love to go to. I've never been to
Mm.
New Orleans. I'd love to
I,
go
I
there.
don't I don't think we live anywhere fun to tour to,
You could
Jess,
come to
unfortunately.
Milwaukee.
Yeah, I live in upstate New York, just outside of Syracuse, and if you do ever come to the States, don't play Syracuse in winter. Just
Got it.
we average 132 inches of snow per winter.
Jesus Christ.
The
That's huge.
we interviewed Chris from Hidden in Plainview, and in 2006 they played in the middle of winter, the night of a snowstorm.
Oh my
And
God.
they couldn't get out of town.
See,
So
the most extreme weather we have in the UK is like, oh no, there's a few leaves on the road. Come on, that's
A
like
bit of ice.
a bit
Don't
of
slip on
frost that I
those
have to.
leaves.
Yeah, literally, that's that pretty
Oh,
much
look,
is.
I
Well,
can see my breath in steam. I can't leave
oh,
the house.
oh, woe is me. No, no. Well, I will. But again, I'd love to go to New York. Like some of my favorite artists and bands and clubs as well. It's just like just to even just go there. Like, again, I haven't been to the US. I'm one of the guys in the band that hasn't been to the US. So like I'd love to go there. There's so many places there that I'd love to
Get some
explore.
sweets with corn syrup in them because we're not allowed that over here.
Oh yeah, we're not, are we?
Yeah, there's
it's
a
not
lot of
any
things.
better.
I mean, there
Nah.
is a lot of things in the UK that you guys regulate a lot of more like products
Yeah.
when like things
Yeah.
in food more
Mhm.
than we do.
It's so bland over here. Everything. I just love how supersized everything is in America. Like whenever I see an American movie, they're always in the cinema with what looks like a bowl of a drink. Like it's like this big, and they've just got this tiny little straw. And I'm like, how are you fitting all of that fluid in your body?
Yeah, but the best thing is like you either get a large, extra large, or like triple extra large. There's no smaller medium.
Yeah, I love that. Yeah.
But yeah, it's great in America. We're like, add sugar to this, make this bigger, and then we're like, why is everyone fat?
Triple extra large.
I'm pretty
What?
sure we are
Stuff might fit you over
most
there, Zach.
obese country,
Yeah.
aren't we?
It's Mexico.
Is
Mexico's the
it?
most obese. Huh.
We're bleeding our influence south.
Oh, I guess.
If you
That's
were to
fine.
come to the States and tour, would that change anyone like a stateside band you would want to tour with?
Like I mentioned before, like Avoid. I think the Plot and You are American, aren't they?
I think so.
Yes.
They've been blowing up recently. That yeah, I really love them. Um, I'm trying to think. Spirit Box are Canadian, but now they live in America now, so technically, guess you could call them an American band.
Ah, they're still
Um,
Canadian.
yeah. I was tiptoeing on that one a little bit. Um, I'm trying to think off the top of my head now, because all I ever really focus on. Let me look on my Spotify for you.
That's like saying because like Silverstein's from Canada, but they're not American. But
No, but they're
Shane
closer to
Told lives
America
in
than we
Las
are.
Vegas now.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I think
So it's
we would just be yeah really grateful just to get over there and like regardless of who we're touring with, we'd just be like, man, we're in the US, it's gonna be awesome. Like so, you know.
It's actually really hard for Canadian bands to tour down here. I've been told
is it?
from another interview we did. They said they have to go through a lot of hoops and they search your everything before you come over the border and then
Yeah,
they ask you they want a whole itinerary of your whole trip.
yep. They want where you're going to be, what
When
time, how much you're approximately going to be making. They ask a bunch of questions at customs.
Yeah, I know that merch and stuff like that is a really hard one in America, and there was I think it was Alpha Wolf did a really clever thing with like merch cuts and stuff in venues where they got you to like show how much you'd made so that they could work out how much of your merch they needed to take a cut of. And he basically borrowed the opening band's card reader and like showed him that and was like, there you go, that's how much we've made. And there was like nothing, and they got away with it because it's like, yeah, some of the regulations and stuff really aren't cool, and
yeah.
like a lot of bands had to get all their merch printed and made in America so they can collect it on when they arrive and stuff like that. And it's just, yeah, it is difficult to tour the US being not from the US. So
Yeah.
One day.
that's why I was saying when we're successful enough, that's exactly what I mean. It's like you might be successful enough to tour, but it doesn't mean you're going to make any money.
Right.
So we'd just be grateful to be able to do it and not lose too much money.
Yeah, for sure. So you guys are on Year of the Rat Records, right?
That's the one.
Yes. When did you guys join their roster and how's the experience been so far with them?
Yeah, it's been great. So we joined Savior Management, which is run by James Ilsey, who runs Year of the Rat Records as well. Um, so we joined about, is it probably coming up on a year now, aren't we?
I've lost all track of time. I really struggle with stuff like that. I think ever since COVID, I'm a bit like, right, has it been a day or a month? I don't know.
But yeah, we joined James's management company probably about a year ago, I'd say. And then yeah, when it came time to, we basically spent the first half of that year with him just writing all of this stuff. Um, and so when it came time to release it, he gracefully almost like invited us to join the label. It was really lovely. And yeah, it's been great. I mean, our streams have been up. We've been reaching lots of new audiences. James has also been acting as our tour manager slash booking agent as well. So he's been managing shows to get us on lineups with bands like In Me, getting us on 2000 Trees. Um, yeah, we've been super fortunate. So it's nice. We can really start to see some progression with the band now, which is lovely.
Yeah.
And yeah, we wanted to try and for this first EP, we kind of wanted to keep it like sort of independent because they're out and independent. They're not like a subsidiary of any major labels, which was lovely because we had control over everything. Um, so yeah, it's been really nice. I think um we're gonna be looking to try and do some stuff next year.
That's good.
Wink,
Potentially Year of the
wink,
Rat
wink.
or potentially with someone else. We don't know yet.
Well,
So
you never know. I mean,
yeah.
everyone changes all the time. So, I
Yeah.
mean, there you probably heard about like the horrors of like bands being on like Victory Records over
Hmm.
here. And I'm like, some of them had a hard time getting off the label and some of them had an easy time.
Yeah.
And it's like, you don't want to get on the wrong one. So
No, we're super lucky with James. He's been, I mean, it helps that he's our manager as well. So it's
yeah,
like it's all kind of it's all in amongst its little own sort of community, well, ecosystem basically. So yeah, he's really he just wants the best for the band, and he's been quite open with, you know, if a bigger opportunity comes along, that's where we're going. And it's lovely to have that backing and to have someone kind of champion you the
yeah,
way that you would want to champion yourself, you know. So
that's
he's
great.
been super supportive, and yeah, the label's been amazing for us.
Nice, nice. So do you as a band have any rituals or things you do prior to going on stage?
Yeah, we learned that the hard way. We never used to do any sort of warm up,
Oh,
Oh
physical warm
God.
up. We would do like instrumental warm up, but we did in the early days. We did a few tours, and because we do like to go a bit mental on stage, we would just be like cramping up and like aching, and just like I think there was a show, and somebody came backstage like just after we got off stage, who was like a friend and whatever, and they were like sort of seeing behind the curtain, and instead of it being all like, you know, doing shots and popping champagne bottles and all this, we were all just like, oh my back, like walking around like, oh man. So we took the initiative to, I usually lead like I used to play football when I was younger, and rugby and that. So I lead like a little circle of physical warm ups. So we stretch and we roll our ankles, and we, you know, stretch
Got to
all our
treat it like
muscles
you're an
out.
athlete, really, don't you? At
Yeah.
the end of the
So
day.
we do that, and then it's not every single show, but every now and then me and Ellen will do like a shot of tequila because it's a nice upper. Um, but yeah, that's probably the most kind of ritual based thing that we do. And then me and Zach have a nice little thing
I
when
don't
we're
know
on
where that
stage.
came from. This
No,
thing,
neither do I.
but we
We
do it every time now.
Every show we have to give each other a knuckle bump because we just have to now. If we
I,
that's too.
we haven't played a show without doing it. I don't know why, but it's
I
nice.
think, but because this is an exclusive. This is the first time that we've actually spoke about it. We've never talked about this, but I think I have a theory that both of us think that the other one hopes that the other one doesn't forget.
Yeah,
So it's I think Max thinks that it's like, oh, I want one, and I think the same for Max, and we both just do it every time. But
I turn round because I want to make sure that, because I'm like, I don't want you to think that I forgot. So because I'm not forgetting, so I'm turning around to make sure
and
that you
it's the
haven't
same.
forgot. And I'm
It's literally the other way around. So yeah,
yeah,
but
yes,
at the end of it, we are basically in a very long way saying we do a fist bump and that's it, and we do it every single show, and that's it.
unspoken rule.
Unspoken rule. That's it. But yeah, no, and yeah, we do a warm up, but we all do our instrumental warm ups as well. Um, yeah, that's it, and just a load of water. That's the other thing as well. It's just drink a shit ton of water, and I've also discovered towels. They're incredible. I didn't realize that how great they were. Like I had a towel at 2,000 Trees, and it was just like, right, I'm having a towel every time now. This is great.
Can wipe the
On
sweat
that,
off yourself.
I
yes,
mean,
we did that Scotland tour, and there was a venue that had a washing machine and provided towels for everyone, and that was the first time we've ever had that. And we had
oh man,
no idea how much we needed them.
that felt like the Ritz. That
Yeah.
felt like a
Henry
palace.
basically is like an ocean maker when he sweats. He has like we have to get a wet floor sign out on stage and put it around where he stands because he sweats a
Tense.
lot. Yeah. But yeah, for Zach being bold, it doesn't really help because it just pours down into his eyes. He's got nothing
Yeah,
stopping it.
I did
Gotta wear
do,
a
however.
headband.
I did do for a while. I did do that. Which
Funnily
worked.
enough,
It
when you
was
had hair,
yeah, I know. Man, yeah, I don't know. Fucking, I did try the tennis player trick of putting Vaseline over your eyebrows. I did that. However, my skin's really weird. So basically, it liquefied, and I basically just had petrol and sweat in my eyes for a show. And I was like, I'll never do this again. So it did the absolute opposite of what it's meant to fucking do. But yeah, towels are a godsend. But yeah.
Never again with the Vaseline.
No.
So a couple different fun questions here. If you had to describe your band as an animal, what animal would that be?
Wow. Camel.
He's a camel.
No, not this. No, I'm joking.
A
that's
swordfish,
uh,
maybe.
wet and
Why?
pointy.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know. Either that or like a cheetah, super fast and
Energetic.
energetic, but also like to sleep most of the day as well.
Nah, pigeon.
A pigeon.
No.
Pigeon. But mostly just because pigeons really love carbs, and everyone in the band really likes carbs. We like pizza and
do.
noodles and stuff. So like, that's pretty. I honestly, guys, I cannot answer that. I have no idea. It's too much for my little drummer brain. Swordfish look cool, I suppose.
Yeah. Or maybe we'll just go for a dolphin. How about that? That's nice and inoffensive.
Yeah,
I don't
dolphins are
know.
cute.
I've
Huh?
seen some pretty offensive dolphins
Have you? Where?
on the YouTube. Look it up.
Oh God,
Look up.
pigeons are a safe bet.
I don't know. Don't pigeon shit on everything though.
Yeah.
Come on, guys, come on, work
They
together.
carry disease.
There's no wrong answer. There's no
No.
wrong
Well,
answer.
I tell you what, take any aquatic animal because we have a song called "The Tide." There you go.
Yeah, there you go.
There you go. Something like that.
So we briefly talked about American food. Have you guys had the chance to try American cereal?
No, but I really want to. I
No,
really
I
want
haven't.
to.
We have
I
too many
follow-
preservatives in it.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
I follow Craig Reynolds, who's the drummer of Stray from the Path, and he always like puts stuff on his story and on his YouTube and stuff about like all the American foods, and like he loves cereal. So I've always wanted to try American cereal, but
Can you recommend some? Can you recommend American
yeah,
cereal
I'm gonna
next
write
time
them
we're
down.
over? Yeah, when we're over there.
Cinnamon Toast Crunch.
I've heard. I can't say I can name. I can name Cinnamon Toast Crunch, and there was Fruit Loops. Is that one?
Yes.
Fruit Loops, yeah. Now, if I describe the smell of Fruit Loops, if you've ever smelled a citronella candle, it smells
Yeah.
exactly the same.
Well, I don't want to eat that.
I've always been partial Lucky Charms.
I've heard of Lucky
Lucky
Charms.
Lucky Charms
Yeah,
or
yeah.
Reese's Puffs.
Oh, I've had Reese's Puffs. We do get those over here. Yeah, they are amazing.
Maybe
the same company as Reese's Pieces and like Reese's
Yeah.
peanut butter.
It's just like peanut butter
yeah, it's like
cereal.
it's branded out to General Mills or something like that.
Yeah.
Jess, let's find some sample boxes and ship them over.
We could.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
Could send you some cereal. They make
They have
lots of those little boxes. You can just get a whole assortment.
Yeah, they have little like 4-ounce individual serving boxes.
Yeah,
we
we've
have
got
those over here.
yeah.
Yeah.
We'll find some of American cereal. We'll ship them over.
I love that.
It can't cost that much. Cereal's pretty light, right?
I bet we'll have to pay VAT and duty on them though.
Yeah, there's
Like-
probably some sort of like custom something we have to pay.
Yeah. Yeah.
It'll be like,
You're exporting rare goods.
$15 for a $2 sample
We'll
cereal.
definitely look into it for sure.
Yeah, we'll
That'd
look
be
into
fun. So we do love discovering bands from overseas. There's something different about the music to us from bands overseas than in the States. Are there any bands you think we should check out? I know we've talked about a bunch of bands already and you've mentioned a bunch, but do you think we should check any out specifically?
Yeah, so a lot of mine are from Australia or the UK.
Mm-hmm.
The two from Australia are, well, three. You probably know Polaris. But
I've heard of them,
Polaris,
yes.
Thornhill, and Void of Vision. Those three at the moment are absolutely killing it. I've seen them all recently as well, and they are just insane. Over here, I'd probably say Love is Noise, Static Dress. They are really coming into their own now.
Mother Vulture again. Mother Vulture is like one of my favorite bands, not just because they're friends of ours, but like the music as well. Like Georgia, the singer, is one of my favorite
Phenomenal.
singers. And
if you like
friend.
AC/DC and you like Queens of the Stone Age and Royal Blood, you'll love that band. Who else, Zach? Have you got anyone else?
I mean, you probably will know them. Another Australia band as well. Favorite is Carnival. I know. I'm sure you know the carnival. Have you heard of it? It's not spelt like carnival as in the actual word. It's what is it? Karin.
VOOL.
Yeah, Carnival. They're one of my favorite bands, and Max and Josh love them as well. Who else is there?
Trying
Who
to
else
think.
is?
For some reason, my Spotify has logged me out, so I can't
I know.
go
I
in
feel
and
like
find
I feel like more recently I discovered
Oh,
a band from Australia, but I can't remember who it was. But I liked it on my Spotify.
that. That
Super
might have
Love.
been. Oh, Super Love. Yeah, they're
Super
good friends
Lover.
of ours.
Super Lover again, like one of my favorite bands, and it's like I listen to them and like I'm just like, oh, like it's because we supported them. God, it was December, maybe a couple of years ago, but
Mm.
their guitarist John is, we've worked with him quite a lot, and he helped engineer the drums on the latest record, and has provided, helped out with production and some layering and some synth stuff. So, and yeah, they're awesome. Super Love. So I highly recommend checking those guys out.
Yeah, I think it was Polaris that was from Australia that we were talking about that I recently discovered. And
Yeah.
I liked a song. It was called Nightmare.
Oh, I love that song. Yeah. Yeah, they are incredible. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
think Australia is absolutely producing some of the best metal and alternative like bands out there at the moment. They're so fresh and just awesome.
So I think that does it for our normal questions and everything. Do you guys know of any bands that might be interested in coming on the podcast? We try to
Yeah,
network when we can.
yeah. Well, Super Love, like we just mentioned, they'd probably be up for a chat. Um, Aramea, they're good friends of ours. That's spelled Arimea. Who else? Oh, we should probably plug all of our mates now, shouldn't we? Raptors, um, which
They
is spelled
spelled
RXERS.
PTRS.
Yeah, I hate that spelling.
But they played 2000 Trees as well last time as well, which is
Yeah,
That's like
Profiler. They're another.
Profiler. They're on Sharp Tone Records. Oh, we should have shouted them out. Profiler are really good friends of ours. But they're doing some awesome like new metal kind of inspired metal stuff. They're on Sharp Tone, which is the same label as Loathe and Holding Absence and other bands like that.
Story of the Year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Chris is
They're
looking at me like you had to mention it, didn't you?
You almost made it through a whole episode.
Almost.
the.
They're my favorite band, so
Oh, really?
I've loved
Who?
Story of the Year since like 2002, so
Yeah.
before they were Story of the Year.
Right. Okay.
So yeah,
Um.
Chris always gives me guff though.
Oh, I forgot to mention Knives. They're really good friends of ours. They're like super, super different. Do you know Idols from the UK?
I
You heard of
think
them?
Chris is shaking his head,
Yeah.
yes.
They're kind of like, I don't want to say indie. They're like a very odd alternative band, but we had them open for us. Knives this is, and they've got like a harp player, they've got like
Sax player.
yes, they've just got so they're just I can't describe them basically. I think you guys would find them really fascinating. So Knives and then probably Girl, but spelled
Yeah.
GURL. They're all of our mates. So yeah, go ahead and hit them up and mention that Kite Thief pointed you in their direction and they should know what you're on about.
We will do. Yeah, I mean, thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Yeah,
We've
of
had a
course.
blast. I
Yeah.
hope you have too. It's been
Yeah,
good
thanks for having
conversation.
us. It's been
Thank you.
lovely. Yeah, every interview we've had has just got better and better. So you guys have top
And
of
I
the list
mean,
now.
I've been mesmerized by the accents the whole time, so you know.
I'm not going to try and do an American
Do we
accent,
have
don't worry.
accents? I'm sure we do.
I'm sure.
Yeah, they're not too thick, which is quite nice because we can still understand you.
I'm
We're
from the Midwest, so
yeah, and I'm from the Northeast, so we're like 13 hours from each other.
Oh
I
wow.
guess in America, is that like not that far?
That's
Or
pretty
is that
far.
that's
far?
pretty far.
Yeah.
You have to go through about 4 or 5 states to get there, probably.
Okay, yeah.
And to make it 13 hours, I think you have to drive through Canada, don't you?
No, you
No?
drive right down through Ohio, through Pennsylvania.
my pathetic little brain can't handle the size of America, man.
No.
I'm used to this pathetic little rock that we live on, and it's like, and you're just, it's like the size of Texas. My brain can't get my head around it. That's like just,
Mm.
I just
Big.
kind of, yeah,
Yeah.
it is
The only
big.
thing I know is that Pennsylvania is where The Office was filmed, and that is my favorite series of all time.
I'm like
Yeah.
2 hours from Scranton.
You are the closest that Max has ever got to the office. He's really excited.
If we tour America, I'm just going to Scranton. Everything else, I don't care.
Yeah, I
Uh,
guess I don't think about it that much about how close everything in the UK would be compared to the United States and how spread out we are.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Insane.
we are pretty spread out because I'm like, I ain't traveling that many hours to go see a band, you know, like
Well, that's why
so
everyone
far.
flies everywhere, isn't it?
It's
We're
true,
all
but
like,
when you're touring, you don't.
no, you don't. I always see people saying like, "Oh, we're flying here and there," and I'm like, "How the hell are you flying everywhere? Is it like really
Imagine getting
cheap?"
all of that onto a plane like
It's
that.
true.
Yeah.
That'd be a tough one.